You look on Binance, Coinbase, it's not there, but it seems to be in these like WhatsApp, Telegram groups. So I'd say it's a little too early. And the biggest takeaway for us in running a business, I learn a lot about Bitcoin, obviously, because I get to see behind the scenes a little bit, is that Bitcoin is demonetizing other assets that were monetized previously because they had to be. And so it's very obvious to us that our customers are selling their second home and buying Bitcoin, transitioning out of their stock portfolio and buying Bitcoin, selling their fine art and buying Bitcoin. And so we see the opportunity in, okay, this is a wealth transfer. Where does the wealth exist today? Predominantly in these more developed markets where people have excess assets and assets that have appreciated tremendously since the divorce of the gold standard. And so a lot of our growth and largest volume is helping customers transfer wealth from archaic assets that don't make any sense anymore because of Bitcoin into Bitcoin, and then helping them secure it, and then helping them get it into cold storage. And for a lot of the emerging markets where they don't have the opportunity to be a part of that wealth transfer because they don't have any assets to begin with or any excess cash balances, that's where we see trends like Lightning being used. We see trends like stable coins being demanded. We see trends like P2P markets and black market behaviors. But it's still really, really early. And I'd wager to say that no one's really figured that out, not even the Binances and the Coinbases. So it's a big opportunity. I think we're really well positioned because of our focus on Bitcoin. We don't get distracted. It's like really, really exciting. And so that's why we run the business profitably. We run it patiently. We have extremely low time preference. We only listen to customers. We don't need to pour money into growth. We don't need to pour money into excess products and venture. And we try and optimize to be here in 100 years because the opportunity is so big, and because it's a business that's really unique in that way. So I agree with everything you said, straight up. And yeah, I think the last thing I'll say is that sometimes I think Bitcoiners, well, I know not you, but some Bitcoiners are a little embarrassed to say they care about the price. Like I hate the line, I'm not in it for the price. I'm in it for the technology. And that's just not true, because you want to know the number one KPI or metric that'll tell you a lot about our numbers is the price. Why? Because the price is a reflection of how much of the world is using Bitcoin as money. Quite literally, it is the perfect metric. And so something that we see all the time is when the price goes up, our numbers go up. And so we also kind of ride this macro trend that is Bitcoin and its market cap. And so we optimize too to make sure that we're sustainable when Bitcoin's going down, and we're ready to capitalize and serve customers and scale when Bitcoin goes up. And that's also just a fact about the company. And sometimes you hear Bitcoiners, I don't know what it is, if it's they're ashamed to admit or they feel guilty because they've benefited so much from an open source technology, but it's like the price absolutely matters. It is a reflection of how work is stored. And I can get compensated in autographed baseball cards, dollars, gold, Bitcoin, and that's my choice and how I store the effort that I contribute, and I want to save it and exchange it later. And the price just tells us how many people are making the choice of Bitcoin. So it's quite literally an adoption metric of how much of the world's effort is being stored in this money that we care about. And as it grows, there's obvious network effects and economies of scale with money. We all know that. And so to me, not valuing the price is a fundamental misunderstanding that Bitcoin is money. And that, again, money is technology. It's not like a construct. We can't all agree that water bottles are money and make them money. Money is designed to solve this very particular problem. And the more people pick Bitcoin as their solution and opt into using this technology as the money, then the better all of the other holders of the money, the better the world, because of the belief system and the way it was designed and all that we subscribe to. So I think it's just a fundamental misunderstanding, to be candid. Like to me, if you don't value the price of Bitcoin, then you don't fundamentally understand it and understand money for that matter. And we honestly, the last thing on Strike, it's just interesting, some of the insights I get. What's interesting is a lot of our than humans are producing value and innovating. Like another way I like to think about Bitcoin is I'm long humanity by owning Bitcoin, because with my money supply fixed, I get the benefits of human innovation and human productivity. Like when humans innovate and produce more that makes food cheaper and education more accessible and travel easier, like I'm a net beneficiary of that Whereas if I'm holding a currency like the dollar that's being produced so rapidly that they're producing more dollars than we are producing innovation as humans. And to your point, that's an insane concept to wrap your head around, given we're living in this world of AI and tech boom, and we've got now cars driving themselves with Elon Musk. It really puts into perspective how much money they're actually printing and how much debasement that our currencies are actually going through for the goods and services that you need in your life to still be working the wrong way. You know, you're running on a treadmill. You could be innovating and producing as a human as hard as you want, but if you're not getting a 20% raise year over year and the housing market money, there's a few different angles. I 100% agree with that. An inability to plan for your future, value the future, be confident about your future disables you from having children. And so the metric is also, interestingly, it's the child per woman is going down tremendously as well. It's not as if there's different pockets of the world that are having tons of kids and others that are having lesser as much. The overall average of child per woman is crashing. And that also says because women are working a lot more. And there's an argument there that, you know, women's rights has tremendously improved. And I think any human, despite gender or whatever, should be able to do whatever they want. And I think it's a great thing that women can now do more in the workforce. They can vote, right? A lot has changed in empowering women and women's rights. But there's also a monetary story there as well, which is dual income households have skyrocketed. And so I wanted to be very clear. I'm not making a comment on women's rights or anything. It's the insight that if your money is constantly being debased, inflation is constantly putting monetary pressure on not only your existing life, but your ability to plan for your future. And both you and your wife or you and your husband have to provide income, then it becomes also less attainable to grow a family, and at that, a big family, if both parents can't be present in the household. And so there's many different angles to arrive at the fact that having many kids is generally unattainable. And I think, just generally speaking, I think as a human, just being alive, in a sense that, again, be part of something bigger than yourself, optimize for the success of others. So love hard, don't be selfish, be valuable today, take it all with you tomorrow, and have kids and contribute. And if you're able to pass on to the universe physical matter in children and then monetary matter in Bitcoins, which is literally like time, energy, effort, value abstracted in a market good, that's about as good as you can be as a human being, you know, all else equal. And you going back to the analogy that Bitcoin is a mirror, given all this context, because I do struggle, how can you be so repulsive towards this Bitcoin thing? I mean, to me, it's so obviously net good, net positive on philosophical levels that I didn't even know existed getting into Bitcoin. And obviously, I understand the journey of a Bitcoiner, and it's not lost on me the journey that I had, and that I didn't know all of these things. I know more today than I did yesterday, and that's kind of nature of being a Bitcoiner as well, as the amount we all learn and consume. So someone getting into it, I can understand their naivety, but the repulsive nature as if it's evil is just so bizarre to me. And I love the analogy of a mirror because I think we grow up in a society that really struggles with the truth. I think we've gotten so far away. Like we built so many abstractions in social media, abstractions in government, abstractions in money, that we're so far away from the 100%. And it is, you know, Bitcoin is governed by Mother Nature and its immutable laws because of proof of work. And whereas fiat is governed by human governance and abstractions. And the further, just on net generally, the further our species gets away from the physical realities of truth, then the more complexities we have. You know, you can make the argument a technology like Nostr is trying to achieve a similar fate where you've got so much abstracted truth in corporations like Facebook, Twitter, and Elon and such. So I think that's just a general trend we'll see, is that we've entered a digital age and we've built a lot of technology, but through that, a lot of abstractions, both monetarily in our social structures, in government. And I think things like Bitcoin and proof of work are a reversion to the means of being governed by Mother Nature and laws that us humans can't change and construe and manipulate. So, and that also, it's just beyond me that someone could value proof of stake. Right? Is that the fact that it's painful is real clear signal that you are wrong, not to fight it. But yeah, I don't know it, because if you think of Bitcoin as this piercing truth, this technological advancement in connecting the immutable laws of Mother Nature to a digital object that we can program to be perfect, then what does it say about the people that are against it? You know, is that a proxy to say that government and big corporations who are primarily trying to kill it and primarily trying to stop its adoption are then by proxy the biggest opponents of truth and the biggest opponents of objective reality, right? Because if I am just doing the math in my head, if Bitcoin equals objective truths, physical reality, honesty, humility, then those that are against Bitcoin are against those things. And so, you know, I don't take it too far and to say that I'm able to judge the character of a man by their opinion on Bitcoin, because that's a little bit too much. But it's not that far off in that if you're making an active effort to suppress this thing, kill this thing, violate this thing, then it says more about like the man that can't face truth and tries to kill truth, suppress truth, hide truth. It says more about the